Welcome all. I note by way of roll call that we are all assembled. We move first into a hearing of citizens. We have 9 speakers, 10 speakers. If we can limit this to 3 minutes each, and you can really say a great deal in 3 minutes, trust me. But really try. We will move ahead. The first speaker is Cathy McCammon. Cathy? And lining up after her will be Marianne Kugler. My colleagues on both sides have recommended that we try to finish by 6 o'clock, and I hope nobody will object.
Well,
Cathy?
yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Cathy McCammon, and I'm co-president of ACES, the Association of Continuing Education Students. And I'm here today to invite the administration, the board, faculty, staff, and students to our annual Arts and Crafts Fair and open house at the Wake Center. It will be Saturday, December 10th from 10 to 4. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for everyone to come together because you can see what we do. There will be demonstrations, and I think even the students from SBCC might be interested in seeing the demonstrations and maybe even taking some of the classes, because we have had class members from UCSB and they've really enjoyed the classes. So anyway, I'm here with these invitations, and David Schwartz, who is the coordinator of this effort, wanted me to tell you that this year things have gone so much more smoothly than before. It is amazing, and he's very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you, Cathy. Marianne Kugler. Hi, Marianne. Followed by Eleanor Larson.
Marianne Kugler, and I'm here to address the Board of Trustees, but also our acting superintendent president, and to thank you for the really careful thought that's going into the planning process, the design of the planning process for the review of continuing education. I thank you for your support in the president's action. That planning process, when it is developed, is going to be a work of art. That's obvious. And I have never seen a process like this that was not successful. Thank you all.
Thank you. Eleanor? Hey, we're doing all right in this 3-minute thing. This is cool.
Hello. My name is Eleanor Burns Larson. I'm the other co-president of the Association of Continuing Education Students. But I'm speaking to you today as a resident of Santa Barbara County, a voter, a student, and especially as a taxpayer. References have been made in other meetings comparing the college to a corporation. If we extend that metaphor, the taxpayers are the shareholders. Just as corporations have reporting obligations to their shareholders, so does the college have the obligation to report to its stakeholders. Prior to this year, it was difficult or impossible to understand the financial reporting by the college. Monies seemed to be added and subtracted from accounts like a shell game. It was quite bewildering. I wish to commend the present board on the improvement in financial reporting that has occurred this year, and particularly in the last few months. To continue the metaphor, the board has selected an interim CEO who speaks to the students as adults and listens to their concerns and views. As a stakeholder, I'm very pleased with the selection. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor. Dr. Cornelia Alzheimer, to be followed by Linda Nelson.
Honorable members of the Board of Trustees, President Dr. Hassan and Dr. Friedlander, you're probably rather used to seeing me here pointing out where I feel things are going wrong. And as the budget analyst for the Instructors Association, that is somewhat part of my job description. But you won't believe it. Today I'm here to tell you where I feel things are going very right. And going right is this new way in which the administration has started to present budget numbers to the board, to the members of college governance, and to the public. While our accounting department, under the lead of Joe Sullivan and Leslie Griffin, has always done a great job, this new way of presenting our budget now makes it easier to understand for everybody. And no, I'm not talking about the new color coding in Joe's presentation, which are beautiful, hands down. This light pink and deep blue, just beautiful. What I'm talking about is that this new approach gives us a more realistic view by providing best estimates. No more wrong decisions because nobody really knew how much padding or air there was in the expense accounts. No more unjustified class cuts or proposed salary reductions like the pay cut the college proposed because the sky was falling on June 22nd, 2009, only 8 days before that fiscal year ended with a $5.2 million surplus, and the next with over $6 million. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we are in better financial times now than we were in 2009. Truly, we are not. The funding reductions which are upon us are severe. But with all stakeholders of this college now being able to more clearly understand what the real financial situation is, with everybody knowing what is at stake and what is the best and most realistic estimate, we can now truly work together. We can weather this financial challenge as a community who is pulling together for the best of our students and the college. Today I'm here because I expressly want to thank Trustees Croninger and Macker for their initiative and their ideas on how to increase transparency to our college budget. I want to thank the other members of the board for being open and supportive to these new ideas, and I want to thank the administration and especially our accounting department for making this change happen. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Cornelia. Linda Nelson is next, and followed by Sally Sanger.
Linda Nelson. Thank you, Board of Trustees, for allowing me to speak to you. I'm a continuing ed student, a parent, and an older person. I want to thank you for your hard work. The community appreciates your commitment to fostering open communication. We know it's been a very tough process. We know it's not going to get much easier, but the community is really behind you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. Sally Sanger is next, followed by Yolanda Garcia.
Good afternoon, members of the board, President Hasland, and Dr. Jack Friedlander. Thank you for allowing me to address you today. I'm here as my role as Continuing Education Instructors Association President. For decades, Santa Barbara City College has offered a robust state-funded program of specialized classes for older adults or older students, providing affordable and accessible educational courses to older adults who are committed to maintaining healthy and productive lives. These classes offer a vital service to the senior members in our local community and the state by providing education on topics that promote good lifestyle choices, keeping older adults healthy, mobile, and independent, which in turn reduces healthcare costs for the individuals, the community, and the state. The CEIA board believes that local control of educational resources and governance is critical to a community college system's ability to respond to the local educational and workforce needs of our community. To this end, we support Jack Friedlander's recommendation to create a continuing education task force that will, as one of its charges, examine and address how to best serve the needs of older adults in our area in time of financial hardship. This is a matter that deserves broad discussion and considerable examination of past, current, and proposed practices. This is in order so that the college can continue to serve all members of the community well. On October 28th, the Continuing Education Instructors Association board approved the selection of Yolanda Medina Garcia as the co-chair for the task force. She was subsequently approved by the Academic Senate. We are confident that she will be an excellent facilitator for this very important group. I know I speak for many faculty and others when I say that we are appreciative of the leadership and the oversight the Board of Trustees has provided the past 11 months. We are optimistic that with Jack Friedlander at the helm and with the guidance and recommendations of the Continuing Education Task Force, Santa Barbara City College will be able to meet the educational needs of all its community members, a large portion of which are older adults. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Yolanda?
Good afternoon, President Haslund, trustees, Dr. Friedlander. I am Yolanda Medina Garcia, a longtime faculty member. Last week, Dr. Friedlander made a proposal to the Board of Trustees in study session regarding the parent-child workshops. The faculty who teach at the parent-child workshops are in agreement with this proposal. Further, I want to take the opportunity to publicly thank Dr. Friedlander for the productive atmosphere he is cultivating at Santa Barbara City College. I appreciate that he comes to the table with an open mind, listens to others, and is willing to admit when there is something he doesn't know. Within this climate of openness, honesty, and respect, we were able to come to a fair agreement, one that is cost-effective for Santa Barbara City College and also sustainable for all the parent-child workshops. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Yolanda. Next is Carlos Martinez. And following Carlos will be Purnima Wach, or forgive me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Do we know who you are? Okay, thank you. Carlos, welcome.
Thank you. Gracias, buenas tardes.
Thank you, good afternoon.
Buenas tardes, Dr. Freeland,
Good afternoon,
miembros de la mesa directiva,
Dr.
Haslund,
Friedlander, members of the
todos
Board
los
of Trustees,
presentes.
everybody present.
Mi nombre es Carlos Martínez, presidente del Continuing Education Student Council.
My name is Carlos Martinez, President of the Continuing Education Student Council.
Hoy quisiera hacer un breve recorrido acerca de lo que estoy viendo que está sucediendo en este colegio.
What I would like to do today is to give you a brief run of what I see that is going on in the college.
Y recordarles a ustedes acerca de algunas peticiones que hemos hecho y que no han sido respondidas.
And to remind you again about certain petitions or requests that we have made that they have not been responded to.
Y quisiera mencionarles que muchos de los problemas que tenemos hoy comenzaron
And I would like also to mention that a lot of the problems, or many of the problems that we are having today, they began
porque hace algunos años teníamos numerosas clases que no cumplían con las regulaciones del Estado.
because years ago we had a lot of classes that were not in compliance with the state requirements.
Cuando se intentó poner orden en estas clases y ponerlas todas las clases en regulaciones, lo que estaba solicitando el Estado,
When we tried to get all the classes under the regulations and in compliance with the state requirements,
fue cuando comenzamos a tener algunos problemas.
that's when we started to have some problems.
El asunto era muy sencillo, era simplemente ver las necesidades de la comunidad y ver lo que estaba solicitando el Estado también, los requerimientos y prioridades del Estado.
The facts were very simple. It was to see what the community was requiring and also what the state was requiring with their requirements.
Cuando estuve en la Universidad en México,
When I was a student at the Mexico University,
aprendí que muchas veces el problema realmente no es el problema.
I learned that sometimes the problem is not really the problem.
El problema es cómo enfrentamos esos problemas.
The problem is how do we face those problems.
Es cierto que algunos miembros han dicho aquí que muchos speakers han venido y han dicho que esta mesa directiva fue elegida por la comunidad.
It is true that many of the speakers have come up and said that this new Board of Trustees has been chosen by the community,
Lo cual es muy cierto,
which is very true.
no por toda la comunidad,
Not by all of the community,
pero ahora su responsabilidad de todos ustedes es con la comunidad entera.
but the responsibility that all of you have now, it is towards the whole community,
incluso por aquellos que no votaron por ustedes.
including those ones who did not vote it for you.
Existe, lo que yo veo aquí fue un poco de una falta de visión para resolver el problema.
What I saw here was a little bit of lack of vision to be able to resolve the problems.
Y algo que se creó hace ya algunos meses fue el Task Force,
Something that was created a few months ago was the task force,
en el cual hemos estado trabajando, en el cual nos fuimos incluidos
and we have been working a lot at it, and we were included,
y el cual hemos apoyado el Continuing Education Student Council
and we have supported the Continuing Education Student Council has
Por-
supported,
por tener representación de todas las áreas.
so that there is a representation by all the areas.
Y como lo he mencionado antes, ha habido diferentes opiniones, claro, ha habido diferencias también.
And as I mentioned before, there have been different opinions, and there have also, quite different opinions and differences.
Pero considero que hemos estado avanzando muy bien
But I consider that we've been advancing quite well.
y nosotros apoyamos el reporte que se ha generado en este Task Force.
And we support the report that was generated by this task force.
Y como lo he dicho anteriormente también,
And as I said priorly also,
el Continuing Education Student Council
the Continuing Education Student Council
no apoya el ACES Minority Report que
does
puso,
not support the ACES Minority Report.
porque lo que nosotros estamos viendo
What we are seeing,
es que ellos deben también aprender a colaborar juntos.
they also should learn to collaborate all together.
Tenemos que entender
We have to understand
que este Task Force es precisamente para que podamos tener un avance y resolver muchas de las cuestiones
is precisely to continue advancing and to resolve lots of the issues that we have
y problemas que que el SBCC está enfrentando ahora.
and the problems that Santa Barbara City College is confronting right now.
No consideramos que tengamos que poner en espera el Task Force,
We do not believe that we have to put a hold
ni
on
que
the
sea,
task force.
ni que sea una pérdida de tiempo o un
Neither we
gasto
believe
excesivo.
that it is a waste of time
A un gasto excesivo.
or an excessive expense.
El ponerlo en espera
To putting the task force on hold
es poner en espera el avance del colegio.
is really to put on hold the advancement of the college.
Es cierto que hay muchos cambios, y ha habido cambios,
It's true that changes are occurring, many changes are taking place,
y lo mencioné en la junta pasada que estuvieron ustedes,
and I have mentioned that also in the prior meeting that you were present.
pero yo creo que cada uno de ustedes sabe
But I think that each one of you do know
que cuando hay cambios,
that when changes take place,
y estos cambios van a estar siempre,
and these changes are going to be occurring all the time,
las instituciones más fuertes son las que van a sobrevivir.
the strongest institutions are the ones who survive the changes.
El colegio está entre los 10 primeros,
This school is among the 10 best.
y yo creo que lo que estamos buscando es la excelencia,
And I think that what we're also looking for is the excellence.
pero uno de los componentes clave que ustedes no están
But
considerando
one of the key components that you are not considering it,
y que el colegio ha puesto mucha resistencia,
and the college has placed lots of resistance in,
aunque no se esté diciendo,
although we don't talk about,
mucho tiene que ver con el respeto a la diversidad y la inclusión.
lots has to do with respect to diversity and inclusion.
Y tenemos que entender que California es un estado muy diverso
And we
ahora.
have to understand that California is a very diverse state.
Solicitamos anteriormente una póliza de cero tolerancia al racismo y discriminación,
We have requested prior to a zero tolerance to racism and discrimination.
y sabemos que el racismo y discriminación existen en todo el mundo y es algo que no va a terminar.
We do know that racism and discrimination exist all over the world, and it's something that's not going to be end.
Pero el mensaje es
But
que
the message is
que no queremos que llegue a nuestro colegio.
that we don't want it here in our college.
Y el colegio como una institución de excelencia no debe tolerar esto.
And the college, as an institution of excellence, should not tolerate this.
Solicitamos transmisiones en televisión en
We
español.
have requested the television transmissions in Spanish.
No estamos promoviendo el español como
We
un
are
idioma
not
mundial.
promoting Spanish as a world language.
Queremos ser inclusivos e incluir a aquellas personas que están en un proceso de aprender el idioma
We
inglés.
just want to be inclusive and we want to include the people that are in the process of learning the English
Y
language.
qué responsabilidad de esta mesa directiva
And we believe that the responsibility of this Board of Trustees
darle a nuestra comunidad
is to give to the community
las herramientas para ser
the
mejores.
tool to improve.
Les mencioné que también las traducciones en el Internet las podemos hacer en varios idiomas, pero la traducción al español es muy mala.
I have mentioned also that the internet translation can be done in several languages, but the one in Spanish right now is very bad.
Y es importante informar a toda la comunidad de lo que está sucediendo aquí
It
también,
is very important to inform all of the community what is happening here also.
como una herramienta
As a
necesaria.
tool, that is a necessary tool.
Y la gente que viene a este colegio,
The people that come to this college,
nosotros creemos que no es para generar buenos trabajadores.
we believe that it's not to generate good workers.
Necesitamos una comunidad competente.
In order to do that, we need a competitive community, or a competent community, pardon me.
Lo único que estamos buscando es tener un trabajo positivo y colaborativo con todos
The
ustedes.
only thing we're looking for is to have a collaborative and hard work with you.
Y quiero repetir que no estamos en contra de ACES ni lo que está haciendo,
I repeat, we're not against ACES and what they're doing.
pero creemos que ACES también debe pensar en seguir avanzando juntos
Also, ACES should think about working together and advancing together.
y ver las necesidades que tenemos ahora, las prioridades que tiene el Estado y las
And looking
regulaciones.
upon the priorities that the state is placing and the regulations.
Lo que veo también, por último punto, es
And
que
last point, what I also see,
no veo un ambiente muy bueno de trabajo aquí en este
I
colegio.
don't see a good working environment at the
Nosotros
college.
creemos que se ha generado un poco de ambiente hostil.
I think that a hostile environment has been generated.
Yo sé que tenemos que exigir a nuestra gente y a nuestra personal,
We have to demand our people and our personnel,
pero cuando estamos haciendo cosas o exigir,
but
Por-
go ahead.
cuando estamos presionando o estamos exigiendo
When we put
cosas
pressure or we make those demands
por molestar a las personas,
just to bother the people,
lo único que estamos provocando es que nuestra gente deje de ser productiva y eficiente.
and then what we're provoking is that our people will stop being productive and stop being efficient.
Este consejo quiere dar las gracias por el trabajo que hacen,
This council now wants to thank you for the work you're doing,
pero nos gustaría que nos escucharan
but we also would like you to listen to us.
y pudieran tener más contacto con nosotros, con nuestra comunidad. No
And to
solamente
have
es
more contact.
escuchar, es oír lo que uno dice, sino es también
And to have more contact with our
que
community.
podamos trabajar juntos.
To listen is
Muchas
not only,
gracias.
to listen is not only to hear, but it's also to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Next is Purnima. And could you pronounce your last name, please?
Yes, it's WOG.
Wog, okay. I see it now.
Hi. I'm going to try to make this as pertinent as possible, and I'm going to be as candid as possible, too. I am Purnima WOG, and I'm speaking on behalf of the credit side of the college. I find it very amusing and very sorely disappointing that the continuing education people come up here and give their sad stories about how life sucks and how bad it is for them. You look at the national debt of this country is $15 trillion, and I'm trying to make my point here, and this is very pertinent. We have California at $28 billion in the hole, and that's trickling down here at the county level and at the city level and here at the community college level. And we seem to just pay a complete blind eye to what's going on financially in this country. I mean, we have a financial meltdown, and you want people to stop having these entitlement mentalities. You know, they want something for nothing. You have credit students coming over here working 3 and 4 jobs, trying to eke out a living, spending thousands of dollars, going into debt thousands of dollars. As of yesterday, or maybe the last few weeks, the national student debt is at $1 trillion right now. It's ridiculous. And here we are fighting for continuing education and basket weaving and bead making and porcelain dolls and whatever else it is that they do there at the expense of taxpayers' money. This is, to me, ludicrous. I mean, you have to look at the core mission of SBCC, and it is towards the credit side of students. This is essentially the backbone of all credit colleges. I mean, credit courses are the backbone of all community colleges. People go to school here, and then they transfer out, and then they produce when they go into their communities. We are at a point in our system where people graduate with these huge debt, these huge, colossal debts, and they have no jobs. And my problem with a lot of the continuing ed people is, hey, you can have continuing education classes, but you need to pay your way through, just like all the other students are paying their way through. I'm one of them. And I think these sorry excuses and entitlements need to end. I mean, it's literally, it's catastrophic at this point. We have no money. And we can't keep bailing out and, giving people money where there's no money to give. There's budget shortfalls, there's all sorts of problems going on. And this is having a huge impact. You will see student populations declining if you continue on this disastrous path. And that's all I can say, and I hope you mull this over very carefully. Thank you.
Thank you. Ann Sprecher? You pass? Okay. That ends our hearing of citizens. We move on to item 1.5, which has to do with communications, the first of which is by the head of our academic senate, Dr. Dean Evans.
President Hasland, trustees, and acting superintendent, President Friedlander. I have some items to report to you today. The first one is the Superintendent's Committee, which is also known as the Continuing Education Task Force. I sent out a message to the CE faculty, and I'd like to thank Dr. Ariano and her staff for facilitating that process, because they have the most up-to-date mailing lists. I wanted to make sure that everybody got the invite, and so we've invited faculty's participation in this committee. I've heard back from some faculty, and I'm going to send up a follow-up message to kind of stir up a little more interest. So that's how we're proceeding on that front, and we're expecting to appoint faculty at the November 23rd Senate meeting. So what will happen is, if there's multiple candidates for a particular position, they've also, when they send statements of interest, they also send a small paragraph, and then the Senate will read those paragraphs and decide who gets appointed as faculty representatives. The second item is the TLU relocation update. This is an ongoing process. The packets are ready to go out. We've gotten the information from the administration. I'd like to thank Maryland Superintendent for that information. And we're preparing the packets to go out to the chairs. Each chair gets a custom packet, so it's taking a little bit of time. But that's going to go out soon, and the deadline is basically the end of instruction. Now it brings me to the last item, and it's kind of a sad item, actually, and that is yesterday the Senate met and did some rankings of replacements of faculty. And like I said in the meeting, yesterday we damaged the college. That's what we did. We did not fill some faculty positions. As a matter of fact, we didn't replace a position in biological sciences with an emphasis on botany. We did not replace a psychology position, a position in philosophy, a position in computer applications and office management, a position in English skills, and a position in the School of Culinary Arts and Hotel Management. Those positions were not replaced. That is damage to the college. And it's also the first real strong manifestation of the budgetary issues that we're going to face from now on. And this is the easy year. Next year will be much worse. There were some replaced. In biological sciences, the biomed position was replaced. Chemistry, accounting, 2 positions in art, drawing, painting, and design. HIT CIM program, the theater arts program, American Ethnic Studies program, DSPS, and Earth and Planetary Science positions were replaced. Any questions? Yeah, Joan.
Joan?
Excuse me.
Actually, I've got a number of things on the Academic Senate minutes.
Oh, okay.
Questions that have come
Of
up.
course.
And, thank you for giving us the update. We knew this time would come.
Right.
That there would be faces on the numbers.
Right.
But in the minutes, there are a couple things that, again, there seems to be a breakdown. I'm observing a breakdown in communication on issues. Last time, we were getting all sorts of numbers about various things, and that's why I'm having
I
a
hope you're not
problem.
going to quiz me on this. I didn't study.
No, actually, I want to know, we all should know. We all should know. We should all be on the same page on this. One of these is the program review and the SLOs, the SLO date. We've been hearing various things, and I can think of about 4 different versions on SLOs, and now the Academic Senate offers another one. So nobody's at fault. It's just that we as a board, because the SLO due date, November 21st, is critical. The first I heard at the faculty in-service, which we talked about last time, was that I believe something like 90% of what was due was not done. Then there was a proposal by Dr. Friedlander that he was going to use funding, program review funding, to be a carrot and a stick. And then we have a academic senate report saying that most of them are done, but we aren't going to use that funding, withholding funding, because that isn't how we do things at Santa Barbara City College, and I have to agree with that. I didn't like that when I first heard that. So I'm hearing at one point at the in-service that we're really in quite desperate straits getting them all done. Now I'm reassured that most of them are done, so I just want to make sure, because November 21st is obviously coming up. So can we be on the same page on that?
Actually, to answer that question, I'd like to defer to our SLO expert. So how are we doing, Mark, on SLOs? Pardon?
We're on schedule, not with the greatest of joy. But Mark, you need to come up here.
I didn't know we had an SLO.
Mark, normally I'd say, okay, you don't have to come up here, but since you wrote an SLO that you would do it, here you are.
The status of SLOs, we have about 200 SLOs unwritten for classes out of 1,640, and we'll have them finished within the next 3 weeks. Then we have the SLOs which have to be scored, and everybody's aware of that, and they will be doing it the following semester, and they will write their course improvement plans the one after, and we will be compliant. So we're over all major hurdles.
Okay, you gave a wake-up call at the in-service, and so I think we need to, concerning where the deadline is, we need to stay on top of that. The other one was item 2.6 about IA communications using the campus-wide mail system. And we had a problem during the last election that IA endorsements, political endorsements for boards of trustees, was broadcast through the system. And I don't think we ever came to a resolution. I know Trustee Bloom was also asking that we probably should become very clear before we need to know exactly what is the role of political activity within the campus on the campus email. So I'm just hoping that we can work with that policy, and so it's all clear ahead of time so we don't run into issues afterwards. So as long as it sounded like IA is being given full access, which may be appropriate, but does that also extend to political endorsements? So that would be my only question about that.
Is this a question that the Senate is taking up?
No, right now, Vice President Ehrlich and I are working together, and we'll be working with the IA to get clarity and closure on this matter.
Well, actually, it's we as a college, we should have a policy, a board policy about that.
Yeah, but that's the first step to bring, that we do before we bring
Well,
something to the board.
I don't think it's something we negotiate with IA necessarily. I'm just, because it triggered a reminder that we need a board policy that's very clear, that it should probably start with the board, find out what we can do appropriately, and then ask college groups to respond to it. Anyway, that would be my approach on that. Was there a typo? Everybody will be looking at a 0.2% operating reduction, or was it a 2% operating reduction?
I thought it was an 8.2.
Okay, there's a missing 8.
There you go.
Oh.
You got off
Wish we
easy.
were
You
right
should
the
have
first
said,
time, I
you
know.
should have said, exactly, that's it. Okay,
I wish the minutes were correct.
Yes,
that's it, thank you.
you're very welcome. Thank you. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
If I could just add, we wanted to review the board policy having to do with elections this year when we don't have an election. And I note that we only have one more meeting, so we got to kind of hurry that one up a little bit. And it wasn't just directed at the IA. I also noted the other day that I saw somebody had appeared at the Republican Central Committee and given their email addresses here on the website. And I know that has nothing to do with you, but that kind of email.
Very little of this conversation has.
Yeah, oh, does it? Well, it does. That's true. It has to do with everybody. I'm not pointing fingers at you, is what I was just trying to say. But there are a lot of things like that that we have to figure out, and we need to be, I want to say, cleaner about it next year. So thank you for bringing that up. Not you, her.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Give me a name.
Thank you.
We go on to a report by the Associated Students. Is JJ here?
I'll be speaking for JJ.
Okay, Scott, go ahead.
Beware, I'm scripted. President Haslam, members of the board, and Acting Superintendent President Dr. Jack Friedlander. I'd like to start off by informing the board that I have acted upon the skateboarding issue that was brought to our attention during the last board meeting, and I have placed it on the Student Senate's agenda for our next meeting on November 18th. Second, last weekend, all 16 members of the Student Senate attended the General Assembly hosted by the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, SSCCC, in San Jose. During our stay, we attended workshops on such topics as how to advocate efficiently, the state legislative and budget process, the utilization of green technology, the Student Success Task Force, and many more. In addition, student senators from SBCC also drafted a statewide resolution in the hopes of being put into effect on campuses throughout California and especially on our own. I'd like to commend the hard work of the senators who participated within the ad hoc committee that was specifically created for this purpose. The members were Senator Soltani, Senator Negroni, Senator Tibbetts, Senator Fan, as well as Dr. Hirsch and our advisor, Dr. Partee. Our resolution was titled Effective Use of Technology in Teaching and Learning and was drafted with the intent to increase student success by ensuring effective utilization of technology by faculty. President Engler will be providing the board with a copy of this resolution as he has already done so with our academic senate. However, until then, I am content to say that our resolution passed is now supported by the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, which represents 2.6 million students across the state. From here, we hope to see all of the colleges within the SSCCC implement these steps and improvements that our resolution clearly outlines, and for SBCC to embrace this resolution as well. 2 weeks ago, the Student Senate launched a survey that is available on Pipeline regarding the academic calendar of 2012 to 13. The survey focuses on the student preference for how time should be distributed between the intersession and spring breaks. So far, 175 students have responded to the survey. The initial results are a surprise to the Student Senate, and therefore I would like to share them with you. As it currently stands, about 45% of students selected to allot 6 weeks for an intersession break and 2 weeks for a spring break. 30% of students selected to have a 5-week intersession break and a 2-week spring break, while 25% selected the option that the Academic Senate voted for, which allowed for a 6-week intersession break for school to start on the 27th of August. Now, as we all know, 175 student survey results is obviously not conclusive enough evidence. However, the Student Senate thinks that this topic should be researched further and in the future, given these recent results. I'd like to wrap up by saying that the Student Senate appreciates the effort of the board that the board has always put forth, and as always, the Student Senate looks forward to working with the college in consultation to overcome these difficult financial times, and that is all. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Joan?
have a question. Does your student health insurance cover that period in between, or do you stop as soon as the term is over? So when you have that 6-week break, do you know if you're covered, or is it just when you're in class?
You know, I do not know, but I would imagine that it does not cover
Yeah.
that time between, because you
Do
do have to pay
students
that
think
fee
about that?
each time.
If I may, Scott, you're correct in your response. That's not in force, when school is not in session.
So do students think about that? That 6-week gap or 5-week gap?
Right.
When
Well,
you're out on vacation and getting into trouble?
Along with several other factors need to be considered.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very interesting topic.
Okay. Other questions of Scott? Thank you, Scott, very much. We move on to Liz Auchincloss, report from classified employees.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Dr. Friedlander. Our consultation group had scheduled a meeting for yesterday, but because of the general meeting of the accreditation team, our members wanted to go to that, so I want to thank the accreditation team for having that general meeting where we could all attend. We're in for hard times. I hope we can resolve the issues we have on the table so we can try to get through them. The last count, $4 million out of operations, is going to be very damaging to the college. It's damaging to the college what Dean said about reducing instructors, but $4 million out of operations when we're mostly is people, and we've never really had a surplus of individuals working here. It's going to change the scope of the college. So I hope our proposal for negotiations is for a hearing today, and usually there's not much to it, but I hope that, as far as the hearing, I hope that we can, in this negotiations, use our method we've used in the past of interest-based, because a lot of these issues may come to the table, and we have to work together in order to solve them, because we are changing. So, any questions?
You're certainly right. Report from the Superintendent President?
Sure. Just picking up on what Liz just said, I received an email just before the start of today's board meeting from the Chancellor's office, budget area. And what they're saying is that unfortunately, the revenue at the state level is coming in even less than, far less than what they projected, based on October. And this morning, the State Controller's Office reported that for the month of October alone, the cash receipts were $810 million below expectations, bringing the cumulative cash deficit to $1.5 billion for the first 4 months of the year. So next week, the Office of the Legislative Analyst releases its forecast, and the legislature either has to act on that forecast or the one in December for projected revenues and expenses for the year to decide in December whether or not to pull trigger 1 or trigger 2, which is each different magnitudes of budget cuts. In our budget planning process, we based everything on the worst case scenario, and unfortunately, it looks like that was a smarter thing to do than it was at the time, given the state's revenue situation, which is a transition into building on what Liz said. I was at yesterday at lunch, our foundation had a reception for the donors to the Adopt a Student program, and students were there. And I looked around that room, and I knew the donors who were there, and I knew they all had, many of them had very different political beliefs, came from very different backgrounds, but they all transcended that to say for the common good, and the common good was investing in the future of this country, the future generation. And to me, that was the most heartfelt part of that event. It was a gorgeous event, and getting to meet the students and what they're achieving with the extra help. It was really the care, but it was just everybody pulling together for a common good. And so far, the spirit at this college, in terms of these awful budget cuts that we're facing, has been just that. What I'll be proposing to the College Planning Council on Tuesday is, given the magnitude of budget cuts we have to make next year and the following year beyond what we made this year, that we form a ad hoc budget planning work group so that we can have a smaller group really speak in more confidence about different areas that could be cut to reach that $4 million in operations, and then bring it back through consultation. But it gives people a freedom to, not be to brainstorm ideas and just put ideas out that some will be creative, some will not be pleasant in terms of what we have to do to reduce that amount of money from our budget. So I just feel compelled that we need to provide a bit more leadership in terms of putting proposals on the table that will be there for consultation. So that's what I'll be proposing to the College Planning Council on Tuesday. A few notes I want to thank you. One is on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we'll be having a press conference to announce a new guaranteed articulation agreement with Antioch University. And we call it the Bridge Plus program. And this is where we work with almost every major to correspond to what they offer. And students will be able to complete 3 years of Antioch University at SBCCC and complete their baccalaureate degree in 1 year at Antioch University. And we work out the budget. It actually comes in a less expensive option now than going to the UC. when you look at the savings, what they do. So the students who join the Bridge Plus program will have very detailed plans about all the options they have to stay on track to get their 4-year degree completed in 3 years. Or if they're part-time, to give them an option how they can speed that up and not take the right courses. But it's very generous in terms of what they're doing. Joan Galvan will be sending out an announcement to some individuals to attend this press conference. The board will all be invited to it. So it's going to be Wednesday in the Lauria Conference Center at 10:30 in the morning on Wednesday. If you can be present, if at all possible, that's very important. This will be one in a lot of agreements we'll be announcing this year. We'll be announcing a guaranteed articulation agreement with Arizona State University and a number of in-state privates and out-of-state public and private institutions that we're working on very carefully to provide our students with more options than they normally have now, because what's happening is UC and CSU are either reducing or keeping seats constant, but the number of qualified applicants for those seats, and particularly in majors that students want to go into, has been rising dramatically. So the guaranteed articulation agreement might be 3-2, 3-0, 2-2 at CSU, but the truth of the matter is that if students want to get into the major that they want to get into, the GPAs are much higher. And so we have to provide more options for our students. So we're proactively doing this by developing these guaranteed articulation agreements with in-state privates and out-of-state public and private. So you'll be really very pleased as I announce more and more of these guaranteed articulation agreements. And I have to thank Laura Castro, members of the Transfer Center staff, in providing leadership, along with Dean McClellan, in developing these agreements. Speaking of which, we just submitted yesterday our Transfer Academy to nominate them for the statewide Exemplary Program of the Year Award. And in reading that proposal, I think that we have an excellent chance of receiving it. The Academy was the only one of its type in California that approach we took. But when I started reading all of what they've accomplished, I lost sight of how wonderful job they're doing. So hopefully in a couple months now we can announce that they were selected. But if not, we can all be proud of what they're doing. I'll try to send you a concise summary of what they have, just so you are aware of it. And maybe at a future board meeting, I think a presentation would be very applicable, including all the guaranteed articulation agreements that we have in the works and our process for doing that. Because in the end, we've got to provide our students, set the bar higher so they achieve it, but we have to give them options to transfer. And that's a priority of the college, a priority to do that. I want to thank Ben Partee, Cindy Salazar, for their work in organizing the Durantes lecture. I want to thank Trustee Villegas for his introductory remarks, talking about his experience with Leonardo Durantes. That was our 21st lecture. And I looked at all the lectures who've gone before, plus the current one, Paul Saltzman, who really connected with the students. And I realized each one of them, what a different approach they took to addressing the idea of the importance of tolerance and commitment to it, and different ways of looking at the effects of discrimination and how to overcome it. But 21 speakers, 21 very different approaches, all were very good. And this speaker just had a way of connecting with students. And the night before, he showed his documentary called Mississippi Burning. It was about the first integrated prom in his town in Mississippi. And that integrated prom happened about 10 years ago, you think, or less, that they still had segregated proms, this recent in our history. And Morgan Freeman, agreed to, who's from that community, acted in that role. But we had over 200 students standing room only for that viewing, and they talked and talked afterwards. So this issue of importance of diversity, of tolerance and understanding, and to do everything we can to condone, eradicate, and do our role we can to not have any tolerance, but really to educate. Because a lot of times people make comments, they make statements that they're not even aware of what the effect is. And that was just the message, one of the messages of our guest lecture yesterday. And it's a good one. And he asked people in the audience yesterday, how many people have said something they wish they hadn't said, that it was discriminatory. And so all the hands went up when people said, I look back in our past, what we've done. And so he really raised everybody's consciousness, but I think having this annual event, but all the activities we do before and after we can't do enough of it. And I just want to reiterate our commitment to it, to all those activities, to do what we're doing. It's so important. We had last Friday over 300 people, over half of which were not associated with the college, were present Friday night for the Day of the Dead. And I want to thank Sonia Loma Lee, Dina Castillo, and others for organizing that event. They do it all in their own time. And to get that kind of response from the community is another demonstration of what we can do proactively to raise this level of discourse in our society, to do that. Also, the last thing I'll say before I give you one more recent update I got 5 minutes before I walked in here from the state is last week, this week, Magdalena Torres, helped organize our third annual Veterans Recognition Awareness Day. And we had 21 community-based organizations and 16 college programs that showed up for this event that each offer resources to our veterans. And so, again, we have a growing number of veterans, and I'm so proud to just see what we're doing and a community college partnership, because we don't have the resources. The community agencies don't have the resources, but they're all partnering together, working with us to serve our veterans. But these things don't just happen by themselves. So again, Magdalena Torres, I couldn't say enough about. Again, it comes down to a person or persons who make things happen. I just got a correspondence from Constance Carroll. Constance Carroll is the chancellor for the San Diego Community College District, and she's engaged in a statewide student success task force. So what was requested and agreed to by the Student Success Task Force yesterday at their meeting was that they remove the recommendation that says to amend the statute to limit the scope of allowable non-credit classes to only those identified as career development or college preparation. So the Student Success Task Force statewide agreed to take that out of the recommendation, but they've asked Constance Carroll to take the lead in coming up with a recommendation that, in place, I volunteered being Constance Carroll and was given the responsibility for writing a paragraph that, while preserving the range of authorized non-credit courses and programs, will also call for inculcating the goals of student success and completion across the range of our non-credit programs, which is something we all try to do in every case. And so we'll see what she comes back with. She's asked for input as a substitute recommendation that will affect our non-credit programs. So we'll follow that, but that's a recent development that I just learned about, literally about 5 minutes before I came upstairs to do that. So with that, I'm changing all the wonderful things taking place at this college, but in the interest of time, I'll end my report.
Okay. Thank you very much. Joan, did you have a question?
A tender thing passed through my mind because both Luis and I knew Leonardo Durantes. We've been around long enough. He worked across the street from me. I'd go buy bagels from him, and you knew him. And it just struck me, he'd be 40 years old today, and it just deserves a moment. It was a young life. We encouraged him. He was so enthusiastic. He was such a good student, and it was a hate crime. It happened right there in downtown Santa Barbara. It used to be the First Western Bank, middle of the evening, 7 o'clock. but he would have been 40 years old. He would have had gray hair like you, Luis, and probably would have had children, and could have been a great alumnus from Santa Barbara City College. So it's more than a name. It's really a person that some of us knew, and it was
Well, I always want to
nice to be
say one
recognized.
last thing. I had learned 2 days ago that Gretchen Hewitt, who's a member of our foundation staff, who wasn't at the time, was actually on the jury that, for the Durantes case. But the one thing I'll share that she shared with me was, in listening to all the testimony, how many lives and families were affected by that one unfortunate death. And that's what she walked away with, that one person. How many, what the web of connections and how many people were adversely affected by that, one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a minute to share a few things. Maybe this is a symptom of the time. After 11 months, I finally had a little free time, so to speak, and I was able this week to attend 3 different City College events. One was the Atkinson Gallery exhibition, which was just great. I'm familiar with that artist. And also I went to El Dia de los Muertos. And it was just moving, the altars. I'd never seen a display like that, and it was just a very moving event. And the third thing I did was go to a lunch. Guess who's coming to lunch with the foundation? And I just wanted to encourage the whole community to get involved with that. At these small lunches, Vanessa Patterson from the foundation brings together members of the community, faculty to make, that's the guess who. The faculty comes and makes a presentation. So business members, community members, foundation members, and we all talk and brainstorm, and it's amazing what can come out of those little intimate lunches. So that was just really, it was a nice week. Also, just I'll take one more minute. Talking about the budget here, and hearing the speakers, again, I'm moved, and I just want to reassure the members of the public, including Purnima, who brought up her concerns at this board. I have a lot of faith that we're addressing these issues and that we're going to be able to get through them. And the fact that people can share about the continuing ed, I think it's a good thing. We all know entitlements are going by the wayside. This board is not ignoring that fact at all. These entitlements are going away, and we need the task force to plan for the bigger future. Where can we go to help with this? And at the same time, I just personally, I have a student here, and I think sometimes from the way the speakers speak, they forget that. I have a student here who's a physics math major, and he works 20 hours a week. Or actually, he just quit his job after working 1.5 years, full-time physics math major and working. So I know firsthand what it's like. I've got 2 kids trying to get into college right now. And I'm bringing that empathy, I'm trying to bring that empathy into my role here as a trustee. So I just want to talk to the general members of the community. We get it. We understand the seriousness of what's going on here and the cuts that are having to be dealt with within the college. Thank you.
Other trustees?
Yeah, from the Facilities Committee, I wanted to thank people who arranged for the facilities tour of the Drama Music Building. I really appreciated walking through with a hard hat because I was amazed how quickly it's now coming together. And I know that sounds funny after we've waited for so long, but I just think it's going to be an amazing building, and it already is. And I know there are a lot of little things still to do, but I look forward to the opening, to the moving in December and January, and then the opening in April. So, but thank you for that peak, that we got. And also at the Facilities Committee, Joe Sullivan, we were asking about skateboarding, and he's working on it too. I heard the Student Senate working on it, so I think we'll have some kind of policy, and hopefully Peter won't get knocked over ever again. That's the goal, right? And then the
If you get blown away, it won't be by a skateboard.
Right, yeah. And then the last thing was, there are townhouses being built behind Shifco. And I know that City College had an agreement with that developer a long time ago, that they might be offered to City College first. And I was going to tell you this, I forgot, but that agreement went by the wayside because that developer went bankrupt. But they are now being built, and if you go over there, you'll see they're coming along very well. They still have the income covenants on them. So if somebody from City College would like a walk across the street to their house, you might look into that. We don't have an agreement with them, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't go and, and look at it and see if they can afford it. They're supposed to be for medium to low income, and there's 7 of them, and they're going to be very nice. So just wanted to pull that out there.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Okay. We move on to item 2, Governing Board. The first item has to do with the adoption of a resolution number 21.
No, I think we have a period of time, a report, time for issues, number 5. Report from Board of Trustees. Usually we have general discussion.
That's what I thought we were doing. That's what we were.
No, didn't you say you were talking about adoption of a resolution? I think that we just have general discussion by the board.
Okay. You had a point to make on the...
Yeah, a number of things. I'm going to follow up a little bit on the what we were just talking about, policy, media policy, using email addresses for the college, because just a couple days ago I received an email from a continuing education instructor who sent it out to some sort of group email to CE instructors, CE students. At the end of her email, she mentioned something about, you've received this mail because you're taking or have taken a class taught by this instructor at Santa Barbara City College. Continue education. Continue education respects your privacy and does not send unsolicited emails. So there's some sort of color of authority of the school that this private email was sent out on, and I don't know what our policy is on that. Somehow it feels like it's abusive. It was just simply an advocacy for this initiative. But if they're going out under our name, and I don't know what authority this person sent or got access to the email list. I mean, obviously they were students of hers at one time, but does that give her the authority to keep those names and use them for whatever she wants to use them for in the future? So we need to expand what we're doing with our internal email, what's okay, what's not okay. And then this also brings one of our trailing issues that we've raised at other board meetings about a code of conduct for continuing education. They have different activities, different interactions, and we've had a number of reports about learning environment, working environment, instructors bringing political candidates into classrooms, various things. So I think we really do need to take a hard look at what is the environment in continuing education. Does it need a separate code of conduct, or do we need to emphasize our student code of conduct here, and then also for instructors over there? We just need to look at it. And, here's an example. Is this okay to collect students' names and then use it, but use it with our name attached to it? I guess that's my concern. If she wants to collect them and these people have agreed to be in contact with her, that's fine. But, okay, that's a concern. I will have some questions about the adoption resolution, and I guess I can wait until there's a motion, or we can talk about those.
Yeah, on that, what we're going to do is Paul Mitchell we're going to call him when we get to that item, so he'll be here to answer questions that people might have, board members might have, or people in the attending this meeting about the redistricting options. So we'll discuss that, but Paul, we'll call him in a second.
Do we know, one question I have is there a deadline this has to be done by?
Yeah, I think we need to take action, the board needs to. By its December 15th board meeting will be probably.
We have one more.
We have one more board meeting, so.
Perhaps I was mistaken earlier. I had thought we were on item 5, and that's when
I thought I heard we were going on to an adoption of resolution.
Right, we were. And then, because I thought we had finished with item 5. So at this point, unless I hear an objection, we'll move on to item 2 and 2.1 and ask Angie to make the phone call. Yeah. Oh. What's your pleasure, Jack?
Well, I think what I'd like to do is ask Angie, what she'll do now, to give Paul Mitchell a call, because I told him we'll call him about 4:45, and if he can wait, then we would take the presentations first, which would be my preference.
Okay.
And it'll probably take about 20 minutes or 15. Yeah, give him a call. Yeah, yeah. So while Angie's calling, let's do the longevity first, Sue.
Okay.
Thank you, members of the board, Dr. Friedlander. It's my pleasure to invite Mary Zaragoza to come forward. She is a student program advisor. Our short is SPA in financial aid. We are recognizing her for 10 years with Santa Barbara City College, and Brad Hardison, Director of Financial Aid, will tell us about Mary.
Good evening, members of the board. I was just here last month with one of my other members, and I'm pleased to be here this month with Mary Zaragoza, Student Program Advisor for Financial Aid. As I may have mentioned before, we have 6 student program advisors in the financial aid office who see students and do all the processing of files. Mary in particular came from UCSB, where actually I had worked before I came to Santa Barbara City College, so I knew Mary a little bit there. She was in the the federal work study program there at UCSB. She currently has duties as a loan coordinator of the financial aid office, so she handles all the student loan program, which is quite an extensive program that we have at SBCC, as many colleges do, handles the student loans, the parent loans, the private loans. And she also handles the calculations for all of our students who withdraw from classes, that we actually have to calculate about the amount of money that they owe back to the school or to the federal government. So she has a lot of responsibilities, but she's very good at it. She's very technical, which is really good because it's an important thing in financial aid. And she's very tenacious, I would say, about her learning. She always wants to learn new things. She's very proactive about going onto the websites and learning new information about financial aid, so I appreciate that. And staff come to her quite often for her knowledge, especially of the intricacies of financial aid. If a student is dropped or owes money back to the college, Mary goes into the accounts, into a lot of detail, and is very thorough about it. So I appreciate that about Mary. So I'm happy to have her here, and at City College, I think we're very fortunate to have someone like Mary, and I would like to see her. I know she'll continue, and I look forward to her many years of service to Santa Barbara City College.
I just want to thank my director, Brad Hardison. He creates a really great working environment. He's a great mentor. He's very much encourages learning. He's not a micromanager, so you feel very empowered as an employee. And I want to give a shout out to our dean, Dr. Ben Partee. He has a great open door policy, so he's always available, and he has great support for our department. And it's great to work at Santa Barbara City College. My 2 kids have gotten through college on financial aid. My sons came through here with a fee waiver, and my one son graduated from UCSB on a Cal Grant, so I'm a great believer in financial aid and the public education system in the great state of California. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Where are we? What are we doing?
Paul said he can wait. So
Any?
let's do the presentations. Then we'll go to item 2.1.
Okay.
So I'm on for item 4.3. Good evening, members of the board, President Haslen, and Dr. Jack Friedlander. I would like to bring our focus back to the students. And for our presentation tonight, you know, we have over 60 student clubs on this campus, which I think is amazing. And I want to recognize Dr. Ben Partee and Amy Collins, who aren't here. And all of the faculty who give their time out of the classroom to develop the kind of atmosphere that we have here that means a lot. Out of those 60 clubs, 11 of them focus on the sciences. And this evening, we have representatives from 3 of the science clubs to talk about the types of activities they're doing, and I think you'll find it really interesting. The very first club, if you want to come down here, is the SHIP, the Society of Hispanic Engineering Professionals. And we have Adrian Diosdado, Michael Gonzalez, and Isidro Calderon to talk about their club. Take it away.
Hello, board. Good evening. My name is Isidro Calderon. I'm a student here at City College, and I'm majoring in mechanical engineering.
Hi, my name is Adrian Diosdado, and I'm majoring in aerospace engineering.
And my name is Michael Gonzalez. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering as well.
And so, like Miss Marilyn said, we're SHIP, which stands for Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and this club is mostly for underrepresented Hispanic students to pursue a degree in the STEM fields, mostly engineering. And here are some things that are meant to help students majoring in those fields.
Well, our program has has many tutors, so we help a wide range of students. It doesn't matter what math level they're in, we have tutors for everyone. And something that we do as well is it's an annual thing. We go to a national conference in which students from all over the nation, we all get together for the conference, and we attend workshops with professional engineers. And we get to learn what they do, how the work life is with them, and we also get to just network with everyone. And I know, like, Isidro here got a good internship offer from GM while we were over there. And there's over 200 companies, by the way, that attend this. And I myself also had an experience there with Boeing, and it's a great way for students to get exposed to what's out there after the 4-year university level. And I'm just thankful for everything that SHIP offers us, and it's great.
Also at SHIP, we really like to help out the community. And so one of the biggest ways we do that is through this annual formal event we like to call the Mixer, which is this thing where we gather local high school students and we give them the opportunity to meet with professional engineers. And we think that that really helps them kind of visualize the goal and see, what it is they're working for. And it just gives them that sense of professionalism. And we help them through the science. We help students who are in science, technology, engineering, and mathematical fields, STEM fields. And it's something really cool that I think I really like about SHIP.
Another thing we want to mention is last year we got Club of the Year thanks to our ex-president Nef Aguilera, which transferred to CSUN, and we hope to get that next Club of the Year for this year. So thank you very much.
Maury had a question?
I just have a question, if I could. You're great examples for the club, but how many students are in there?
I'd say 30.
Oh, great.
30, yeah. And we're still growing. It's nationwide. There's over, I think, 10,000.
Like there's clubs all over in each university. So.
But here you have 30.
But here we have just 30 members.
That's great. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to publicly acknowledge Nick Arnold. He's our lead faculty in engineering. He took the initiative to get this club at the college. And what you hear later on is a whole philosophy with student clubs is we turn it over to students to develop the Constitution, develop everything, and run their events. And we used to try to do a forum, and we had hardly anybody show up. When the students do it, they get large turnouts, and we're thriving. And this club has been just terrific, but it had an advisor, Nick Arnold, that's want to recognize his contributions to making that happen.
Something I'd like to add as well to that is, while we were at the conference, we saw that there were actually some high school SHIP chapters there as well, and so something that we were considering maybe going into the future is to kind of create a pipeline with the community high schools here in Santa Barbara to start some SHIP chapters there so they can start being exposed to the world of engineering, which I think would be a great idea. Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful.
And then one more thing also. We'd like to thank MESA, which is the Mathematics, Engineering, Science Achievement Program, which really helps sponsor events from SHIP too. So we want to really give thanks to MESA.
That's great. I thought you were going to announce you just picked up your 31st member.
Thank you so much.
And I would add one more comment, that one of our local mentors, an engineer at Raytheon, Jose Bonilla, was my student in ESL many years ago when I taught ESL, and he's one of our great success stories who continues to give back to our students here, and it really means a lot. Next club I'd like to introduce is WISE Club, the Women in Science and Engineering. And to speak for WISE is Joy Lane.
Hello, my name is Joy Lane. I'm the president of Women in Science and Engineering Club, hereafter known as WISE, which is kind of a fun little acronym. So I'm a visual learner myself, so I brought along some of our flyers just so you can kind of see. I don't know if you can pass those out. And also a poster that we have. I don't know if you can see that one there. So it's just I like joke around that I'm kind of the recruiter, so I'm trying to pull people into science, because the whole thing with Women in Science and Engineering Club is there's not many females. And I don't think it's because we're not smart enough, it's because we didn't know. I didn't know what engineering was till I was a junior in high school in my first drafting class, where I was the only girl. So it's really cool to get to reach out and kind of pull on these younger students, and just, this is my 5th year at the City College. I took some time off here and there, so it's really, really great. And I just love, I always kind of joke around that I like to turn people onto science, as you can see by the light bulb on the flyer. So I just really like to get people excited, because science is really hard, but it's so fun, and that's what I'm here for. And I want to just kind of spread that passion for it around the campus. So that's why kind of fun posters this way. I just want to pull people in with, we had a student draw actually this poster. So not only do we like do science, we pull on their natural talents to get the posters so we can get students interested and involved. So I want to read for you our mission statement. This is what we are as a club. To actively support science and engineering majors with study groups, activities, and outreaches. To come together to positively influence and encourage each other and ensure success. As a group, we will promote science to our own school, as well as reaching out to others and making ourselves available to teach as well as to learn. We believe that our field of study is empowering, challenging, satisfying, and doable. We are WISE. So we acknowledge that it's really hard, but we come together with study groups, and it's really great because it's not just engineering. It's, I'll walk in there and I'll say, gosh, I'm really struggling with this chemistry test, and one of the chem majors steps up, hey, I'll help you out. Can you help me with calculus? Sure, I got it. So it's really great where we build on each other, and so we're there to kind of help each other through these midterms and finals that we're going through. And a lot of us do have jobs and we're working, and so it's really great to kind of get to come together and talk ourselves through that. Also, I like to view City College as a bridge to the next 4-year, because this isn't our last stop. City College is somewhere we came. I personally wasn't prepared enough to go to a 4-year, which is why I'm here. Some people just didn't have the money or whatever it was. So we're here to just kind of work on what we need to. And so I like to say that we equip people here in our club. So we kind of fill you with the information that you need to send you off, to this college or that college. So something we're working on is we work with UCSB campus very closely, and so we have a chapter over there, so they'll come talk to us. And so stuff like the guaranteed articulation agreement, I really so appreciate stuff like that, because we have TAG over at them, and so we're kind of working on getting our club worked out with other universities so that we can have a place to go after that. So some fun activities, because I always joke that science is hard, but it's really fun. So we have Build a Plane Day, where it's Everyone's open to the entire campus, which we're going to do next semester, and we'll have all sorts of scrap materials and cardboards and duct tape, and they get to build an airplane, and we'll judge it based on, divided by the distance, divided by the mass, or something. There'll be a little prize for that. And so it's really cool because we pull kids in, and at the end of the day, you did science. Isn't it neat? So it's really fun that I just get to act almost kind of as an advocate for science for this school and just talk to kids. And so Mike Young is really cool. He's a physics teacher, and he does Physics Fun Fridays with 5th and 6th grade kids. So our club is teaming up with him to do physics experiments in the science classes. So we get to go out and say, this is what it is. It's not hard, and I mean, it is a little bit, but we're going to help you through it. So we get to do that, and also at the high school, we want to go out and just talk to 11th and 12th grade math science classes and say, well, these are some of the classes you'll be taking. You can take them here at the City College and just kind of go through all of that and just kind of talk you through what it is to do well in science, because that's something that I struggled with for so many years. And now that I'm finally on that right path, I get to, turn around and look at this club and let me help you through it. It's something that I really just like to be able to say to them. So it's something that we just so support each other. In closing, I just want to say that I'm so proud to go to one of the top 10 junior colleges in the nation. What a success. So I just want to commend you and thank you for all the work that you're doing for us, again, with things like the tag and all of that. So thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you. One suggestion is when you have the Build a Plane day, make sure you invite Boeing engineers to attend. They might get an idea for what should be the next major plane after the Dreamliner.
Definitely.
Right.
It'd be awesome to have them. Any other questions? Sorry.
I just want to give credit also to Judy Meyer, who usually is here, but she isn't, Dr. Judy Meyer, because a few years ago, she put on Women in Science. Marilyn, you probably remember it, a panel, and Lynn Stark participated in it, Judy was there, and to hear the stories of women. Now, the thing that was interesting is they all seem to have a common affinity towards math, that somebody saw that they were good in math, guided them into science when they never thought that that was where they were going to go. But anyway, it was an innovative conference. It was like it never had been done before to have women talk together. So you really reinforced there is a need and there is a different way of looking.
With the poster, it's Albert Einstein posed as Uncle Sam, just kind of as a joke, but my teacher advisor, we were talking, we're like, oh, well, let's put a famous female scientist in there. And we thought about it, we're like, well, who's recognizable in science that everyone's going to get? And we couldn't think of one. And we're like, well,
Wait a minute, some of our graduates.
Yeah, so I mean, looking on the faces of the students, maybe that'll be the next big female face in science. We don't know. So, because it's not there yet, so we get to kind of build on that, which is pretty cool. Sorry.
Hold the poster up for the TV.
Oh,
There you go.
What was the name of our former student who is heavily involved in leading the charge in nanotechnology at MIT? Yeah, there you go.
Two MacArthur grant.
Suoka and Angela
Right.
Belcher are
There you
two
go.
of our great alumni.
That's who you need to put in that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a really good suggestion.
Yeah. And Dr. Michelle Paddock, one of our new faculty members in biology, is the sponsor for this club, and she's got incredible energy. One of the, with the new STEM grant that we got, one of the requests that the faculty had put in for funding for all of these different areas was to bring students to national conferences and have them have the opportunity to present and really raise it to that professional level. So hopefully you'll be going someplace really cool with Michelle. Okay, and the last presentation for this evening is Teresa Payne, and she is from our biology club. Are you the president? I am. She is the president of our biology club, which is tremendously active under the leadership of Blake Barron in biology. So take it away, and do you have a, yes.
Hello, I am the president of the biology club. We are very active on campus. Some of the things we do, it's a place for, hold on a sec. Okay, got it. It's a really good place for biology majors and other students, anybody interested in biology, to get together. And again, like all the other sciences, it's really hard, and you get to network and you get to help each other with your classes. But one of the things we do is we go to different local elementary schools and preschools, and we talk about biology to the little kids, and we bring different reptiles and spiders and creepy crawly stuff. And we've gone to Montessori and Anacapa School, and then we just did the Kinko's Learning Center up here the other day. So that's really fun. It's really good. It's a good opportunity to see the kids learn and get interested in biology. Like, it's really cool to see little girls excited about bugs, and that's, I mean, it's really cool to see. And also, it's a really good way for our students to learn to teach, and a lot of people get really enthusiastic when they start doing this, and they're like, I want to teach, so it's a really cool thing to do. We also, we do nature walks. We try and do them 4 times a year. We have a spider walk, which is led by Professor Jen Maupin. She got her PhD researching about spiders. So we walk, we've been going in Tucker's Grove. We've been walking through there, and it's around Halloween, and we go out and we hike and we look for spiders, and that's pretty fun. We also do a mushroom walk, which is we go after the rainy season with Bob Cummings. He's a plant teacher here. He's retiring after this year. But we go and we get to look at the different types of mushrooms and fungus around, and it's really fun because all of these professors are really enthusiastic, and they take the time out of their own lives to come help us learn and teach us, and it's really fun. We also do a tour of Lotus Land by either Norm Burr or Bob Cummings, who are both plant biologists, so, which is cool. Lotus Land is really pretty. And we also go tide pooling with Blake Barron. See, there's Bob. And we go tide pooling with Blake Barron, and we got to go, we usually go out to Devereaux, and that's an octopus. And so it's really fun. It's a great opportunity for students to learn about, again, biology. And these are all open to anybody who wants to go, so it's a good opportunity. We also do interclub stuff. We do at the end of the year, the biology club has a kickball game with the geology club, which is fun. It's really fun. We chose kickball because it's not something that everybody practices all the time, so you can kind of have a level playing field. But yeah. We also fundraise a lot because we go on a camping trip at the end of the year, so we have big sales pretty much once a month. I'm sure some of you have seen us. We also do car washes. Marilyn stopped by our last one, which was fun. But most of this is for our camping trip at the end of the year. We take around 30 students on a camping trip. We've gone to Monterey Bay. This is Monterey Bay, Morro Bay, and San Diego. We get to go behind the scenes. This is behind the scenes at Monterey Bay. We got to watch them feed the fish in the tank, and we got to talk to the scientists there. And we got to go to San Diego Zoo. We got to go behind the scenes there too, which was really, really exciting. So it's a good way for you to learn about science that you wouldn't really think about, and it's a good way to network. It's a really good way to network. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that was really inspiring.
That was great. Again, I know Marilyn acknowledged Ben Partee and Amy Collins, but they've made a concerted effort to encourage students to participate in clubs, and they provide the support for students to do these clubs. And so I'm constantly amazed at the petitions for these different specialized clubs that students have, but it corresponds to their interests, and they have to get other students to sign a petition showing there's enough interest. Then have to develop a constitution. They all do it on their own. They have to find a faculty advisor. And it's just, it's part of what we're trying to do is create student life on this campus. And I think we're doing a great job, and we'll continue to focus on that.
Okay. Are we prepared to?
Yeah, Angie?
Get Paul on the phone?
Right.
Are there preliminary comments that you want to make prior to Paul getting on the phone?
Actually, I have my speech that I can make without him being on the phone because
Good.
it's addressing the board and the community. And I assume we're on item 2.1
Yes.
about redistricting. From day one, when we had our first presentation, and the issue was on the PowerPoint about one of the goals was incumbent protection in drawing districts. I objected to it at that time. I've continued to object to it, and I've also raised the issue of having a neutral look at communities of interest. And something has felt very wrong about this entire process, and I couldn't quite justify why I was feeling so bad about it. I went back and looked at the California Redistricting Commission, which the state just went through. It was an initiative passed by the voters, creating an independent agency to do the redistricting. So I went to their website and looked up the principles, and I've given you a packet. I'd like to have it included in the record of the meeting today. I'd also like to have my comments verbatim put into the minutes as well, in the written minutes. But the conversation that we never had was, what are communities of interest? I've raised the issue. Trustee Croninger even got credit for raising the issue, which it was my issue. I want to make that clear, that I kept asking, how can we start looking at this process neutrally first? And we never did. We were given maps right off the bat that were drawn around various incumbents.
Excuse me, Trustee Livingston. We have Paul Mitchell. Paul, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, good. We just started discussion of the redistricting options, and Trustee Livingston is raising some concerns regarding the approach we took. And one that, and she can speak for herself, but I'll just try to summarize real quickly. She's reiterating the concern that she mentioned last time you joined us, we discussed it, was on the community need for, think about communities of interest. But Trustee Livingston, if you want to, is there anything else you want to repeat from Paul, or just go forward?
No, and actually, Paul has done his job that he was directed to do. It's our board that I think dropped the ball on this, or is not interested in it. I don't know, because I've certainly been trying to bring it up. So I just only want to put it into the records, because when I did look up the organization, the Redistricting Commission, they're under the name We Draw the Lines. I'm interested in it because I did apply for that commission. I was one of the people that applied to be on that commission. So it was just something that I felt was really important. And this commission does not control school board redistricting. There's no question about that. It simply controls the state legislature, the State Board of Equalization. However, the principles of that organization, which the voters supported, are the antithesis of how we've gone about this redistricting process. So in the back, I have included facts from We Draw the Lines, which is the California Redistricting Commission, and they're about 7 principles. And the main one is incumbents should not be drawing lines for their own district. There was an editorial yesterday in the Santa Barbara News Press where Lanny Ebenstein raised the issue that perhaps it would be better if this were done by a neutral agency such as the County Board of Schools, School Board County, whatever the name of that organization. Marty is our liaison to it. But what comes across in the redistricting is that there should be no incumbents drawing their own district lines. And this was the thrust of the initiative that passed a few years ago that we have seen the work product of. And they wanted to ensure that there was no communication between the commission and the legislators. They wanted a real firewall between these two activities, that the commission was supposed to be drawing lines very, very independently. They also wanted to have a lot of community input onto communities of interest, which we never discussed even once at a board in any sort of neutral way, let alone taking it out to the community. And this means having charrettes out in the community, the ones that are particularly being affected, Carpinteria and Montecito, actually going out there, talking to people, letting people put in their input. We've never done that. This was part of the process. Defining what communities of interest are. They're objective things that the front page of what I've handed out says, how do I talk about my community? And it goes through various ways that we look at the district at large. What would be the natural affinity? And then how do we fit it into the requirements that we're operating under, which is Paul's skill. So it is, it's working in conjunction with that. I appreciate the fact that we had to put Montecito and Carpinteria trustee residential areas together. We did have to create a minority majority, but that's only 2 districts. We had 5 districts that could have been anything, and we never once looked what would be communities of interest that might meet the population requirements. We had 3 plans, but they were done deals, and as I say, they were drawn around incumbents, so we never had that neutral conversation. some of the other principles in the facts is what does define a community. You go through a checklist, you kind of objectively look at it, and then you think, well, how would that apply to the District of Santa Barbara? And then, Paul, help us. How do we draw lines around some of these communities? I'm sorry we didn't have that dialogue. And then the seventh principle on the facts is the commission, the statewide commission, does rely on the active participation of citizens across and an open conversation, citizen input, exercising responsible judgment. Well, the only discussion we've had that's been active or interactive has been the board drawing their own lines, which, as they say, is the antithesis of this entire political reform movement. I wanted those comments in the record. You can do with it whatever you want. We're up against a deadline, but I'm sorry we didn't take a more objective approach on this. Perhaps we could have worked with League of Women Voters, somebody to facilitate this process rather than just being handed incumbent-drawn maps and have them chosen by incumbents. So that is the end of my speech on this. I think you might want to read this.
Okay, we have hands up. Marcia, you go first. Lisa?
Joan, I guess I'm confused. We didn't draw these lines. Paul proposed them to us as alternatives. The one that we had consensus on last time has 2 new districts with no one in it. I don't see that as protecting incumbents, and I certainly didn't look at it in those terms. What Paul had indicated to us is that we had to comply with the requirement, first of all, to even up populations, and he proposed alternatives for doing that. And then we needed to look at the California Voting Rights Act and look at whether or not we could construct a district that had a minority influence or a majority in order to facilitate the ability of those minorities to express their voting preferences. And that's all we were looking at. And so the consensus last time at the board was that we should go for option 2, which creates a, as the greatest Latino influence district that Paul was able to draw based on the census data that we have. This was the best option for maximizing our Latino influence. It is a district that would have no one in it at this point. And so that opens the door completely. There is no incumbent preference here. We also, under the map there, created a new district in Goleta, which has no one in it. So I think we're not favoring incumbents in any way, nor did we draw those lines. I do think there is a legitimate concern that when you look at a community of interest, combining Carpinteria and Montecito are very diverse communities. But the problem was, and I think you just recognized that in your comments, that the requirement to even up the population did not provide us a lot of options. Now, if we need some more thought on that issue, I'm open to it. But you were supporting option 3. Option 3 is the one that only has 1 district that is empty of any representative and isolates Isla Vista. And I have expressed previously a great concern that that's not a community that is easily going to generate someone who can put in the time and effort to work on this board. It's a community of largely students, and that's difficult for them to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, you were next.
Yeah, I was very confused too by labeling these incumbent drawn maps, because that's not at all what they were. No matter how many times it said, it's not going to make it what it was. We were given criteria, and legally we have to follow those criteria. Marcia already outlined what they were, and communities of interest is at the 3rd tier, and it is important. And I know you've brought it up, Trustee Livingston, each time, and for me, I feel like as an individual trustee, each time you've brought it up, I've thought through, well, how does this reflect our communities? It's difficult. We have such a diverse group here, and from block to block, we have different ethnicities, different income levels, schools. We talked about the fact that the schools, the high schoolers move around the districts. They don't necessarily go to school on their block. They go, many of the students move now to different schools based on what the school's emphasis is. So I guess I want to say communities of interest is interesting to me. I did consider it each of the 4 times you brought it up, and I feel that there's several maps there that do the best job they can reflecting that. I disagree 100% that these were trustee-drawn. We followed the league recommendation on how to go about this, and a consultant, based on criteria given to us, gave us several options, and we've discussed them repeatedly.
Okay. Marty was next, and then I'll get back to Joan.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat what both Lisa and Marcia said, but not only did we talk about community interest every time you brought it up, I tried to engage in a dialogue about it and didn't feel like I got anywhere, but that's okay. At least we were both talking about it, and I think, as Lisa said, it comes, we have to consider it, but there are other things to consider, and I think a lawsuit from the Voting Rights Act would just be devastating to this college, and there's no reason for us to do that or to even expose ourselves to that. The one thing I wanted to say is that I was a league observer for the redistricting commission, and it was a very difficult thing because they had 80 assembly members and 40 senators and a congressional district, and I think they did an amazing job. Now, do I agree with everything they did? No, but at least they worked on it. And you said that we never had any public meetings. Well, this is a public meeting. Every single one of our meetings that we've discussed it is a public meeting. We do not meet, not in the public. I never have done that. It's, I don't know that going to the library and asking people to come there would do anything for us, if that's what you were talking about publicly. But we do have a deadline now. It's December 15th, and it's up to you if you wanted to draw lines, but you're saying that we shouldn't be drawing the lines. I was very interested in what Paul drew for us, so I'm going to stop right there, but trustees did not draw their own lines. We did have public meetings, and we did talk about communities of interest.
Joan?
I sense there's still a major disconnect between what I said and the feedback that I'm getting. I asked at the very beginning that trustees not even be identified, and I also asked to take a look neutrally without any lines at all. I believe I was even promised that we would be able to look at it that way. We never looked at the map as a blank slate. As I say, I have already agreed. We have a voting rights obligation to create a district. I have never been against that. It's just a matter of which one. We were told where the demographics were that would support that. So please take that out of the discussion. And I recognize, too, that the Carpinteria Montecitos, as I say, those were 2 districts. We had 5 other districts that we never looked at as a blank slate. So yes, the lines were drawn by a company, but they did include the incumbent. When we were given them, they were given with incumbent, which really shouldn't have been part of it. Never did we have a neutral discussion with an open map. And that is my original complaint. It continues to be my complaint. When I read the California redistricting principles that don't apply to us technically, but I think they apply to us in spirit, it just gelled why I think this process has been wrong from the beginning. Once we got into what we did with computer-drawn lines and they kind of fixed, and then we juggle here, we juggle there, we lost that moment where we could look at it as a fresh exercise, create some objective criteria, apply them, then work with Paul. Well, these we see as communities of interest for this particular district, because they will relate to our mission, which is community college education. And it never happened, so I am on record now of having been just uncomfortable about it. I don't accept parts of what you think I'm saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a California voting rights appropriate district. incumbents were included from day one. We were told that that was one of the goals, is incumbent protection. Mr. Ebenstein relates incumbent protection is just another way of saying gerrymandering. You know, these are things, we should be above it. This should be a legacy. This is our legacy for the next 10 years of who we are as a district. And I think we failed in the process.
Perhaps this would be a good time to ask Paul to comment.
Paul?
Did he stay with us?
I think he fainted.
So my comments would be, and in fact, right before getting on this call, I was actually talking with one of the members of the redistricting commission, Connie Galambos-Malloy, who she and I have done a lot of speaking together, and we actually have talked a lot about how, you know, local governments sometimes think that it's right to apply kind of what the state commission did to the local process. You know, first off, the commission, the job of redistricting at local government is always in the hands of that local board. They can't defer to anybody else to draw the lines. The Orange, in San Diego County, the county board actually attempted to create a commission and empower that commission to draw the lines for them, and it was found that they could not. Ultimately, each agency has to be the one to approve their lines, and the only way to get around that is to have a ballot measure that would take that power away from the agency and put it in the hands of a separate commission. So that's maybe a conversation for what to do next time. And then, you know, a lot of the principles that the commission used are the same as the traditional redistricting principles that we used, and the only difference was we were trying to be more aware of the voter intent and trying to not use redistricting in a way to cleave people out of their districts. And this is another thing that's unique to local governments and redistricting, because it's going to ultimately be your job to pass the redistricting plan. It's not very believable that individual city council members or school board members aren't going to know where they live. And so a redistricting plan that actually does create empty districts and draw council members, as an example, into the same districts could probably be seen by a court as a more suspicious redraw and invite more challenges than one that simply does maintain the existing voter choices. So it's a different application of a lot of the same theories at the local level as you have at the state level. And if there's an interest by the board in trying to remove the job of redistricting from it, that's something that could be done for the next redistricting. It would just have to be approved by voters.
Comments?
Peter, I wonder if there's any questions regarding what we discussed at last study session, because Paul was directed to come back and say, well, if option 2 is where the preference was, here are 2 options for how the elections, the ordering of when elections would take place, and he put out option A and B. And I'd just like to know today, why we have Paul here, if there's any questions about what he's saying these are the options within option 2 that people would need, board members would need clarification.
Marcia, would you like to respond?
As I mentioned to you, Jack, I do have a question about option 2 here, and I'm not seeing that as a workable option, and I'm wondering what I'm missing. Because under option 2, it looks to me like we wind up with 2 years' worth of only 5 trustees instead of 7 trustees. And we take the 2 new districts, B and D, D being the Latino influence district, and we give them no representation at all for 2 years. And I just don't see why we would want to go there.
I think it's probably they run for 2 years to get to 14, and then they run again, so it might be a partial term.
Well, that's not what's listed here.
But I mean, I think that's one of the options you can put in.
I think you're right, but Paul, can you answer that question?
Yeah, the existing members of the board who aren't termed out until 2014 would be staying on the board until 2014, no matter what we do with the numbers.
Okay, but then we would, those existing members of the board, which would be in, we have two, in option 2, there are 2 districts, F and G, where there are 2 existing board members, 1 in each. So in effect, there's no election in F and G, is what you're saying, if you say that. Is that what you're saying?
So if you number that as a district that's coming up in 2014, like I had in my sheet, then election in 2014, there wouldn't be an election there, and whoever's the incumbent there, I think the way to think about it is, whenever you were elected by your voters, you're going to represent those voters until the next election.
Okay, but in your option 2, you have both, the ones where there are, you have F and G as 2012 elections, even though in each of those there is a board member whose term has not doesn't expire currently until 2014, and correspondingly, or not correspondingly, we have 2 districts who have no one at all being proposed for election. They're empty districts for 2 years. So that's why I'm saying I don't see how option 2 works.
So if somebody is, you can have 2 people in the same district, essentially, in the same geographic area, one who just got elected there in 2012, and one who got elected and is not leaving until 2014. They're technically representing the original lines that elected them in the past.
Did you mean 2010? Because these are 4-year terms.
Yes, so somebody who was elected in 2010 is going to continue to represent the people that elected them in 2010 until their term expires in 2014, no matter what we do with the line.
But you've designated those districts as 2012 election, so it doesn't make sense to me.
F and G says term expires 2012.
And it also says that the 2 new districts with nobody in it, B and D, including the Latino Influence District, which is D, would have no election until 2014. So that's how I get, I mean, I get 1 election in A, which is 1 trustee, in 2012. No election until 2014, so there's no trustee there. 1 election that can, 1 person in C that continues to 2014. No election in D until 2014. 1 trustee in E that continues to 2014. And you're saying 1 each in F and G that continue to 2014. That's 5 trustees. We're missing 2 trustees.
Paul, if I may, I think what would be helpful to everybody is for you to say, here are the decisions the board would need to make under option 1, and how would that influence who's up for election in 12 and 14. And then once you have that understanding, because that would influence what happens in option 2 in terms of which way we go. But I think if you walk through that, that might be helpful.
That would be very helpful, I'm sure. Joan?
And then I have a concern that these are all new districts. They're all brand new. Nobody owns any of these districts. When we started the district, we spread people out geographically. And when we start clustering people, well, these will be the 2000 election, or let's say the general election year and the non-general election year. We end up with a cluster up in one chunk of the district, and then another cluster down in another chunk of the district, and we lose the ability to have a geographic spread. So just tell me the answer to this one thing. Since they're all new districts, nobody owns any of these districts, they just happen to live in them, and they have a term that's no longer valid because they're not an at-large trustee any longer. Is it possible that every single district can be reallocated with a different election date right now? Every single district, every single new district. Or why do we have the carryover from an old election system that we're not using
To
anymore?
step back and get at one of the principle of how this works. If you were elected in 2008, your term is up in 2012. At the end of 2012, if you don't seek re-election, you'll no longer represent those people. But if you were elected in 2010, no matter what we do with the lines, no matter if we got rid of the lines, you'll still represent the people that elected you in 2010. So no matter what happens, you're still representing all the people in either your district or in the structure of the old system until your re-election. So effectively, lines take effect in two steps. Lines for people who are up in 2012 or who choose to run in 2012 will take effect in 2012, and the second set will take effect in 2014.
So then the two collapse.
The democratic principle is that you always represent the people who elected you, not the line that you're in based on a new redistricting scheme.
So you wouldn't be filling then the two empty districts. If, let's say, Jerkowitz and Livingston decided to run, there's already a sitting trustee in their new districts. That's what I think we're having the problem with.
Not actually, if they're not taking effect until 2014, they're being represented by somebody until 2014.
So they are precluded from running then.
Paul?
So
I think if you talk through the option one, that will address the question that Trustee Livingston raised and others, I believe, have, and also Trustee Croninger's question. And then you get, because that would influence option two and vice versa. So I think you'll be addressing two questions or more by walking through that option. You know what actually are the decision points.
Did you want to?
Well, I was just going to ask Paul, could it be that under option two, what Marcia pointed out, F and G in 2000, was that just a typo? Should it have been 2014? Because based on what Paul just said, it should be 2014, correct?
But I think
so. But then you've got to change your two empty districts
Right.
to 2012, which I think then matches option one.
I think if I may,
For the B and D,
I think
right?
if Paul can address this
would
first,
have
then
to
we
go
can
to
come back.
2012.
Just because I think, and everybody, once Paul walks through this, either it will give clarity or it won't give clarity to the answers to all your questions that people are raising.
I think-
Paul, do you want to walk through this? I'm sorry, Peter.
Well, I'm thinking that in the interest of time, we give Paul a chance to clarify this in a written document so that we can actually see it step by step. It doesn't appear to me as if we're going to come to clarity tonight. The point that I was going to make before, I mean, this has to do with the immediate part. I'm more concerned about the long-range part, and there I agree with Joan Livingston that we have not done what I believe needs to happen, which is to talk to our communities. I mean, we may be of the opinion that since we've focused on it and therefore are ready to act, I've had a number of calls from folks in Carpinteria wondering what on earth is going on. And I want a chance to talk to Carpinterians about this process. It doesn't mean that the outcome is going to change. We have some very real constraints. But it does give us all a chance to talk about it so that everybody has a common understanding. I would suspect the same is true in Montecito. And Joan, you're absolutely right. These are two very disparate groups, and we need to be able to explain to them and help, and maybe they'll come up with a better idea. I don't know. I'm certainly open to that. But I would think that we might want to move on and let this one ride until our next board meeting.
Maureen, do you have a question?
Well, I think before our next board meeting, maybe if we have a study session in between, we could go through it, because I had told Jack after I voted for option two that I had some concerns. I understand them better, but the nature of how it would actually lay out and when the voting would take place was confusing to me. So I think your idea of getting a written opinion from him, although we sort of have it here, and having a study session and understanding it better, and then maybe we're in a position to vote on it at the next board meeting.
Is that, yeah.
Yeah,
Lisa?
I don't want to prolong the point, but can you remind me, or maybe Jack can remind me, in what ways is this, are these options public in terms of our website or anything?
Well, we can make them public. We can post them.
Would that be something the rest of
And
the
I
board
think
thinks?
I think it's posted right now as part of the agenda attachments. Is that correct, Angie? So it's already posted.
Can it be highlighted somehow to
Yeah,
draw
we can.
attention?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea in terms of inviting public input. And Dr. Haslund, it's up to the board, but we do have a board study session on December 1st, which is 2 weeks ahead of the December 15th regular board meeting. And we have a crowded agenda, but I think we, this is so important and time sensitive that it might be a good idea to include this on here, and we'll have additional clarification to
I
help
think,
inform the discussion.
Jack, it's very, very important that we be very clear about what we're voting for, and having any sense of confusion about it just doesn't merit our vote. Joan?
Have we done anything in the newspaper? Have we had any media ads or anything that has laid out the district that
No, because I think...
reached out? Why not?
Well, because the board, we discussed option 2 last Thursday, and we put this on as an agenda item, and we publicly posted it, but we haven't asked for community input per se, although it's been agendized. But in the announcement, if we put something on our webpage, that's when we could...
I think it should be published in Carpinteria newspaper, Montecito newspaper. This is what you do when you're making these kind of decisions.
Well, I think I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I think maybe the reason for that could be that, given that we have a waiver, I think it's the decision of this board. It's not something that's going to go to the voters. So, which was, I think, based on the editorial yesterday, I'm wondering that option would go to the voters.
Yes.
Which would then, we would then incur a cost to have a special election. So maybe that's why.
And-
I'm just saying that it was not,
Well, it doesn't, that
Well,
doesn't
other
set
than
us...
being noticed, the item was noticed the 3 times that we've discussed it, I think, but.
Marty was next, I
I
think.
just wanted to add, not only, the important thing, too, that was wrong in that editorial was that it didn't recognize the idea that we are talking about district elections. We're not talking about at-large elections. I think we already kind of made that decision. If anybody still has at-large on their minds, we should speak up now, but we are talking about district elections.
Right.
And Lanny was urging us to adopt district elections, but we should make it very clear if we're going to put it out there that it is by district.
Marcia?
And I would also
Maureen?
suggest, Jack, if we're going to put it somewhere else on the website, that we include the discussion about what it is that we're required to look at, so people have a better understanding. They're not just looking at a map without information about what the applicable policy and legal requirements
I
are.
think that's important. What I'll do is although Paul's given us all that information, I'll be careful to work with him to make sure that what we put out is accurate.
Yes. Good. I mean, it's exactly what I think Joan is saying, and all the rest of us are saying, that we should have a fact sheet that says this is the proposal, and there should be no ambiguity about it. And that's what we can take to our separate communities and talk about.
Right, but I'm also indicating that we need to help explain to people both the question of the differences in the legal voting eligible people in the different districts,
Population.
the population requirement that we have to even it out, which is really what's affecting Carpinteria and Montecito in ways that people are rightfully perhaps unhappy about.
Okay.
I guess another question would be, if a citizen's petition is filed, how does that fit into the process? Until it gets approved by the chancellor's office, is this still an open process here, or could it be superseded by a citizen's petition?
Paul?
I could hear the question a little bit, but could I get clarification on what the question was?
Well, the question is, there was an editorial about the possibility of a citizens petition to the county schools board. Marty, help me out with the official name of it, which is allowed to draw districts. It's one of the legal entities, apparently, that has the authority to do it. So where, you know, who wins the race of getting the final document or the final allocation? Let's say they start a petition, they go to county schools, and we're moving along with internal approval, chancellor's office approval. Who decides when you have two competing forces?
There is a possibility that, especially absent this chancellor's office pathway, that school districts could go to that, what essentially is the county office of education, and either get approval for your lines or a waiver so that you don't have an election for a redistricting process. But that is not an avenue that has been used anywhere in the state to require or force a district to change to districted lines. The pathway is a lawsuit. And that's a pathway we've talked about with the California Voting Rights Act and with the court interceding and forcing the district to change its election system. But as soon as you transition to a 7-member board, as we're discussing any of these options, that would not be a pathway anymore. Once you've actually transitioned, you're done.
Right, but the county board,
They have no role.
well, what's with the petition process? That they can petition for impact on the district? I know we were taken to county schools once before on that issue. So it sounds like various people can approach this in different ways. I'm just wondering who gets to the goal line first? And where is the goal line for our process? At the board vote, at the chancellor's office approval? If the citizens petition also is working its way through the system, does that put a stay on our process?
Address that.
And I don't know whether there will be a petition or not, but there was interest in it.
I'm wondering, Paul, if you can answer that question on that same sheet of paper, because I'm sensing that Maury Jerkowitz has one more question. I know also that Louisa and Maury are needing to leave the board, and I'm eager for them to have a chance to finish their conversation.
No, I was just going to add that I think the article in the paper was about district elections and not at large, and we're talking about communicating with the community. If we communicate with the person that wrote that editorial and tell him what we're planning, maybe he'll be satisfied with that.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, according to what Paul is saying, is that we're the buck stops with us. This is our job to do this. And I think if we start at this late date exposing all these things to the community at large, it's going to get very confusing. It's confusing enough for us right here to solve this. And when we get all this input from all the community at large, I think it's going to become an impossible task. But
okay.
I was just going to mention that the Chancellor's Office or the Board of Governor waiver is driven by the legislature, not just by the Board of Governors. So that has that authority. Secondly, I think I wanted to reiterate what Dr. Haslen said, was that maybe that question can be included in Paul's write-up, so that we can discuss it further at our next meeting.
Is there an objection to that approach so that we can move the agenda? Okay.
So
Thank you, Paul.
What I'll do, Dr. Hasland, is we'll place this on the December 1st study session agenda and 2 on the December 15th next board meeting.
It could be a long meeting on the 1st of December.
We have a lot.
I won't be at that meeting, but I think I've had the opportunity to get my views know, they're on the table.
Yeah,
Thank you.
They're in the record per your request.
I'm in the record.
Item 2. Thank you, Paul, very much. We'll
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
hear from you later. We move on to item 2.2, presentation of the district's initial collective bargaining proposal to the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
Excuse me, I have one other actually important question. Is it appropriate for the acting superintendent to recommend on this, or is this something that should be the board only? On 2.1?
Oh,
I know it's routine to put that in there.
What I'm hearing, sensing from the board today was what, I just want to have clarity as to when I work with Dr. Haslam on putting together the agenda, we take the agenda items we've already collected.
Right, I'm just looking at the one line that the acting superintendent recommends approval of this resolution, and I'm just wondering if it'd be more appropriate if you didn't weigh in one way or the other on it?
Well,
I just wanted to bring that up.
Move on.
Yeah, move on.
I think we really need to. Go ahead.
Thank
Sue?
you very much. Item 2.2 is the presentation of the district's proposal to the Teamsters. Having received direction from our board, we are now informing the public of what our initial proposal is. I would just simply say that this is in the format of a completed agreement, simply because this is the initial negotiations with this group. It is a proposal that pulls in from items in a memo of understanding that we have with managers and supervisors, has some parallels to what we have for our classified group. The topics that are treated are some basic housekeeping items that don't usually come up once they're resolved. There is an opportunity, if the district receives a COLA, for reopeners on salary. At this point, however, there is nothing additionally offered with respect to salary. We've got salary administration guidelines, a grievance procedure, leaves, and holidays, layoff issues, our catastrophic illness plan, and with the presentation of this, what I am encouraging the board to do is approve that at our next board meeting, we will have a hearing on this matter, and that we will make copies and distribute them between now and that time.
Are there questions of Sue? Hearing none. Thank you very much, Sue.
I need action, please.
Oh, what action? I thought you
Yes,
said.
that you just recommended by the board. It's the last two items.
2.2.
So I recommend that we make a proposal of the matter for public record for pickup, et cetera, as set forth in the agenda, and give notice to the district that the public, at the next board meeting, a hearing will be held to provide the public with an opportunity to express itself regarding the district's initial proposal.
Is that a motion? Yeah, I'll take it as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion of the motion? Hearing none, we move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the public hearing on CSEAs.
Okay. Item 2.3, a public hearing on CSEA and its Chapter 289 initial collective bargaining contract proposal to the district. Is there,
Do we propose that a hearing be held?
yeah, well,
Or we
I'm going to
vote
suggest
for,
that-
I move that a hearing be held to accept the proposal on the, not accept it, but to have the hearing for the proposal.
Okay, is there a second to the motion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Is there are there those who would wish to speak to this?
And hearing none?
Okay, hearing none. We will, what action is now required?
Close the hearing.
Okay,
Move that we close the hearing on this agenda item, 2.3.
and is there a second? Seconds. Lisa, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? We have opened, we have closed.
Thank you.
Okay. You don't even have to sit down. You're next.
I'm
Item
waiting.
3. Item 3.
Okay, thank you very much.
What would you like consent on?
This is the HR consent agenda, and I have one item that I need to provide you some additional information on. On page 3, under the notification of faculty appointment, I am very pleased to inform you that the Director of Student Health Services will be Laura Farris, Farris. Rate is Roman numeral 5-11 plus 20 days, beginning November 29th. And with that, I submit the agenda to you for approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
Very good.
Lisa moves. Is there a second? Motion is made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Very much. And my last item relates to destruction of records. And I think it's self-explanatory, but it requires board approval.
Move approval of item 3.2.
Second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Discussion?
Just so I'm 100% clear, we're destroying records that we have copied already on microfiche. So
Absolutely.
we're not actually, we're destroying the paper, but not the record.
Precisely. We're trying to save some paper here.
And we are recycling the paper.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Was there a motion to approve?
Yes.
Yes. And we had a second, and we have discussion, and discussion is ended. We'd move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
Item 4, Marilyn Spaventa. Educational programs.
Okay, item 4.1 is the co-curricular budget, and I would like to comment that we appreciate the generous support each year of our bookstore going to support our co-curricular activities. Do you have any questions about the budget?
It's 21st. Student trustee is anything from the Student Senate involved with that?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
A couple questions, if they can be answered in detail. The president's honor roll
Well,
went up.
Excuse me, let's have a motion to approve.
Okay.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion.
Okay, discussion. I'm just curious on the president's honor roll. Went up significantly, commencement went down significantly. How do we save money and how do we spend it?
Yeah, what's happened with the President's Honor Roll is that the participation rate has quadrupled in the last 2 years. And so what's recommended is to increase the budget, because the budget was based on prior attendance, which wasn't a well-attended event. Now, you can't even find space to stand where we've been holding the event. And with respect to commencement, I believe it's reducing some of the costs associated with the commencement breakfast, I believe. I could be wrong about that.
I mean, actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
That we didn't spend it, and then we didn't spend it in actual.
Yeah.
Jack, I can
Ben, yeah,
leftover dollars from admissions or records, Allison Curtis. So we used that money in 10-11, and so that's why it was reduced, and that money was expended, so it's no longer available
Okay.
for us. That's why it's increased this
Okay.
year back to the $8,000. With regards to the President's Honor Roll reception, there again, there was leftover dollars from an account. We used it there. This year, we expect it to be here. So we went back to our former ledger amounts that we had previous years.
I thought you had the secret to reducing budgets. You were going to
Further
tell us.
discussion?
Leftover
He
money,
does
huh?
have- He does have
Leftover
the
money.
secret to being very frugal with how we spend that money and
Right.
still celebrate the events appropriately.
Good.
Thank you.
An ancillary question would be, if our program has quadrupled, does that mean we have brighter students? How does that work?
Obviously.
We've, yeah, it's just interesting. It just shows the change in student culture is taking place, where recognition is very important to them. They show up at these events, their parents show up, their families show up.
So it's recognition, it
it's-
isn't,
yeah.
students are suddenly doing better.
No, it wasn't ever since you retired that they're all suddenly getting better grades now, Peter. But I think what's happening now, we see it, students realize that just going to college is not a given anymore, that they'll get jobs or into transfer institutions. So our study spaces, our library, our learning research center, it's packed day and night because students are studying more. They realize the bar is raised and they've got the message. And I think you'll see, well, the faculty, I'm already hearing reports of the students that are staying or, putting more time in than they had in the past because the consequences of not doing so, they finally got the message, their consequences.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion is carried.
Thanks, Merrill.
Okay, item 4.2 is the 2012-2013 academic calendar. It does not show a 2-week spring break, and I know that that was discussed by our student trustee, and that may be considered in the future. One of the changes is that in spring 2013, we'll be starting a week later than we are now, and that is because of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and we're following that. So we're starting spring a week later, spring break will be a week later, and we will end a week later.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Scott, do you have anything further to add to this? Or is this something the Senate wants to look at?
It's something the Senate would like to look at, like we have launched that survey, but as I mentioned, there are only 175 respondents, and we have some 20,000 students at this school. And there are various different interests within those 20,000 students. For example, international students have to pay for plane tickets and such to go back home during the intersession break. And when you cut that down, it kind of devalues how much they're paying for those tickets. So in favor of that, I would be rather conservative in my approach to the academic calendar.
Okay. What I'm asking is whether we need to take a vote on this today, or whether this is something that would benefit by added consideration by the Student Senate. But I sense...
We do need to take action on it now. It was my understanding that the Student Senate has raised questions that they would like to consider in the development of the following year's budget. Stuck on that. Calendar, but that we do need to move ahead with this in terms of how we're going to progress with registration and catalog and everything for next year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I think we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Lisa moves. Second?
Second.
Marty seconds. Discussion? Further discussion?
Scott, could you clarify, does that work for you to
Yes.
consider for the following year?
As there's an urgency to this matter and that we only have had 175 respondents, I think the Student Center will continue with promoting that survey to see if we can yield more data from that and then apply it to the future as you suggested. But for now, I think this is sufficient.
Okay.
We appreciate the input, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, really do. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? The motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We move to item 6, deftly skipping item 5, which has the word none at the end of it. Joe Sullivan and Business Services.
We get to leap forward. And I only have the business consent items before you today. Item 6.1.
Is there a motion to approve item 6.1?
Move to approve.
Second? Second. Discussion? Okay. I sense none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I think the next item
It's adjournment. It's adjournment.
is adjournment.
So moved. We move to adjourn.
Move
this
to
meeting.
adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Almost
That wasn't unanimous, was it? Yes, it was.
Aye.
Yes, okay.
Everybody's
Okay,
leaving.
thank you, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Peter.